When the people's voice is stifled by hesitation, courage must speak louder than fear. Breaking news from Abuja today, as protests intensified around the National Assembly over recent changes to Nigeria's electoral bill that affect the electronic transmission of election results from polling units. A prominent development in this ongoing demonstration is the participation of Rotimi Amaechi, former Rivers State Governor and ex-minister, who joined protesters on the ground and even brought his first son, a medical doctor, to stand with Nigerians calling for accountability and transparency in the electoral process. Amaechi made headlines with a provocative statement about why he brought his son to the protest, underscoring both his commitment and concern for the safety of participants. In this video, we will walk you through what Amaechi said, why the protest matters, the context of the electoral bill dispute, reactions from both protesters and authorities, and what this means for Nigeria's democratic trajectory. Before we continue, if you believe elections should reflect the unfiltered will of the people and that transparency is essential for trust, like this video and subscribe to Arise News. On this channel, we follow verified developments, unpack their implications, and explore the questions ordinary Nigerians are asking. At the center of this protest is an amendment to the Electoral Act 2022, Repeal and Reenactment Amendment Bill 2026. Last week, the Senate passed the bill in its third reading and in the process removed the phrase real time from the section dealing with the electronic transmission of election results from polling units. Although lawmakers have since clarified that the change does not eliminate electronic transmission outright, many Nigerians, including civil society organizations, youth groups, and opposition figures, argue that without the legal requirement for real-time transmission, the provision could be undermined or ignored, weakening transparency and opening the door to manipulation. It is against this backdrop that today's protests have taken shape. Among today's demonstrators were members of civil society organizations, women's groups, youth movements, and politicians from various parties. What sets this moment apart is the high-profile participation of Rotimi Amaechi, a figure with roots in the political establishment. Amaechi has urged broad participation from multiple political parties, calling on the People's Democratic Party, PDP, African Democratic Congress, ADC, and others to join in what he describes as a collective effort to defend electoral integrity. Amaechi addressed critics who suggest that political leaders call for protest while their own children remain abroad. In response, he said, "When there's a protest, all of us should come out. Here's my first son. I brought him here to join. He's a medical doctor. His job is if there's an injury, he should treat the injured ones if there are any." His remarks were not merely symbolic, they underscored a desire to demonstrate commitment, solidarity, and preparedness, while also reassuring fellow protesters that care and support are part of the demonstration's framework. Beyond symbolism, Amaechi's statements reflect a broader concern shared by protesters that Nigeria's electoral laws should not be diluted in ways that could undermine confidence in election outcomes as the country approaches the 2027 general elections. Supporters of this view argue that mandatory real-time transmission is a critical safeguard, one that could reduce opportunities for tampering or manipulation once results leave polling units. Critics of the Senate's decision see its omission as a retreat from transparency and a concession to political interests resistant to full accountability. Amaechi also accused the ruling party of blocking progress on electronic transmission out of fear of losing future elections, asserting that if transparent procedures were mandated, there would be fewer opportunities for manipulation and more trust in outcomes. His call for opposition unity, specifically urging PDP, ADC, and others to join the protest, reflects a belief that safeguarding electoral integrity should transcend party lines and represent a collective civic cause rather than narrow partisan interests. Security remains a key concern around the protest site. Earlier reports noted a heavy presence of the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Army, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps around the National Assembly complex, with barricades erected to control access. Despite the show of police and military personnel, the demonstration has so far remained largely peaceful, though tensions have flared in some exchanges between protesters and security officers. It's important to clarify the stakes involved in the debate over real-time electronic transmission. Real-time transmission refers to the immediate upload of election results from polling units to a central system upon conclusion of voting and counting. Advocates argue that this system enhances transparency, reduces opportunities for result manipulation, and increases public trust in outcomes. Opponents, including some lawmakers, have pointed to practical concerns such as network reliability, infrastructure limitations, and insecurity in certain areas that might disrupt transmission. Nevertheless, protesters maintain that technological solutions, including satellite connectivity and other measures, can mitigate many of these challenges if the political will exists. Why this protest matters goes beyond a single clause in a bill. It touches on the integrity of Nigeria's democratic processes, the relationship between citizens and their leaders, and the evolving role of technology in governance. Credible elections are not merely procedural events, they are foundational to stability, investor confidence, and national unity. When large segments of the population feel that reforms are being weakened rather than strengthened, trust in the entire system erodes, and that has broader implications for civic engagement and political legitimacy.
Looking ahead, there are several possibilities. An effective response from lawmakers would involve revisiting the contentious clause, engaging with civil society and technical experts, and working toward legislative language that clearly mandates real-time electronic transmission while addressing practical concerns. Technical investments and partnerships will be necessary to ensure infrastructure readiness. Failure to bridge this divide, however, could deepen political polarization, encourage further protests, and raise questions about whether electoral reforms are genuinely transformative or symbolic. Here is the one sharp question Nigerians should reflect on and respond to in the comments. Should the law explicitly mandate real-time electronic transmission of election results even if it requires additional infrastructure investment, or should flexibility remain to allow INEC discretion based on local conditions? Share your thoughts below. As we close, remember this: a democracy absent transparency is like a lamp without oil. It looks whole but cannot guide the way. The calls for real-time transmission are about more than technology. They are about trust, fairness, and the right of every voter to see their voice counted. Subscribe to Arise News for continued verified reporting and thoughtful analysis on this evolving story.